I think that they got to prepare that he's going to not want to return kicks. And I know there's some people that are going, well, you can make him return kicks. You can. You could probably force him out there, say it's conduct detrimental to the team, but don't think that's best for the team.
Yeah, you could make him return kicks and he could get stuck again like he did in the playoff game. And
and it seems like everything that, like one of the guys we're going to cover here in a second, if we have time, the new top 30 visit, late round prospect, never heard of him. Guess what one of his strengths are? Kick return.
Yep.
So it's like I think that Goody is really looking into different players that could potentially return kicks.
And you know what that would do for a rookie is like, hey, you have one other chance to make this team. You know what I mean? Like if you are going to be our return specialist, hey, we'll find a spot on the roster for you, right? If you're that good with the ball in your hands off a kick, like use that to your advantage. Get on the field any way you can. As a freshman, as a sophomore, junior, you're trying to get on the field just in college, whatever. Let's give yourself any opportunity you can, because obviously all these guys that aren't drafted first or second probably are just going to be special team aces anyway. That's where you get your hay. That's how you get on the field. And then we can grow from there.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a great question, Bates. Appreciate the super chat, man. All right, moving on to the next prospect here. We only had two that we highlighted that we're going, all right, man, if the Packers are going to go wide receiver in the first round, this is another guy. It doesn't mean that Ted McMillan isn't going to be, end up being a top 30 visit, or even if he's not a top 30 visit, doesn't mean they're not excited about him too, right? Same thing with Luther Burden. There's a lot to like about LB3. It's just these are the guys that the top 30 visits are already in the bank on, right? And we'll update this article as we go along throughout the year. So in the 37 spot, Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. Now going into this, I'm thinking, and I haven't even read this article yet, guys. I put it together without reading. I want it to be organic on the air, and let's all kind of uncover this information together. On the surface, I go, 23 is a little bit of a reach for Matthew Golden for me. Now, that's what our board says. Goody may have him higher than Igbuka, right? He's definitely a burner. What do you have, 4.29 speed, I think it was, Emilio, something like that. So he's definitely got the speed to take the top off the defense. Love this shot right here, too, by the way, the one-handed grab in the end zone. Just a great shot. So here we go, Matthew Golden. Here's what Dane Brugler had to say about him. One-year starter at Texas. Golden was the Z receiver in head coach Steve Sarkisian's RPO pro-style spread offense and was used across the formation with heavy motions, 76.1% of the snaps wide, 23.9% in the slot. After two promising seasons in Houston's air raid scheme, he was an underrated addition for the Longhorns in 2024 and proved especially valuable when it mattered most, averaging 102.8 receiving yards over his final 4 games as they're coming down the stretch. And they're looking to go on a playoff run, and they're looking to battle in the SEC championship. That's when he played his best games. Make a mental note of that.
Yep.
That's important. I mean, that is really important. SEC championship and 3 playoff games as it highlights. Fluid in and out of his breaks, Golden shows a plan as a route runner. I love his ability to break down corners by keeping his eyes, hips, and feet in sync. That coordination also translates to the catch point with his very natural ball skills to track, frame, and finish. Overall, it might bother some teams, but he doesn't have better size. But Golden also doesn't have any glaring flaws to his game that would keep him from becoming a productive pro. He can play inside or outside and become the go-to target for an NFL offense. What have we heard with these two prospects, these two wide receiver prospects that Goody has met with, right, with top 30 visits? Both of them can play inside and outside. More so Matthew Golden outside than Igbuka, but Igbuka with that moving Z experience and Greg Cosell saying, hey, this dude within a Sean McVay style system, which is what Green Bay runs, would fit right in. So what do you think about that scouting report there early on?
Yeah, I mean, going a couple different quarterbacks, he's worked through it. I like Golden. I like his speed. We want a fast guy. I think Jaden Reed's quick. I don't think that if we don't have a 4-2 guy on the roster, or playing currently, I don't think that the offense is going to completely fall off a cliff, right? I don't think that that's going to completely hurt us. I think we really leaned into our run game. I think we forget about that. Like, we were a run-heavy offense because we had to lean on Jordan. Let's work off of that. Let's get our play-action game going. You might not need that 4-2 speed to beat a play-action. I mean, Clay, you get sleight of hand in college football, right? You're sitting there, that first down play action, those backers just sit there, dude, right over the top. That's all it takes. So something simple like that, you might not need that breakneck speed.
Yeah, and it all comes down to how defenses are going to play Green Bay as well, right? Like they're going to play you based off the tape last year until
Yep.
you prove otherwise, right? And what did we do last year? How many plays did you see us take the top off? Didn't happen a whole lot.
Right.
We just worked underneath, worked the crossers, worked the slot cross.
I mean, yeah, if you draft Golden to take over Dobbs' spot and just run streaks all game, cool. But what's his stamina at? How long is he going to be able to do? How long is he going to be able to run 4.24? I mean,
That's stuff that dumb, out of shape people like us usually don't consider. We're just going, man, why ain't he getting open out there? And it's
Yeah.
like that. I watched Dobbs do that 2 years ago, and I've talked to you guys about that. That boy was running go route. I think I counted 6 straight go routes, and he never came out of the game. I'm like, how in the hell is he standing up right now?
how are
Running
you able to sell it each time?
Yeah,
I mean, like you have a corner in front of you, you have a safety over top. You have to make him commit to you. If not, Jacobs is getting blown up in the backfield, or the deep in, or the the little tight end curl 8 yards down. He's going to get blown up if you can't sell that streak.
yep, that's a fact, man. All right, that's going to do it for hour one. For those of you listening on the pod, we're going to continue this conversation on the other side for hour two, breaking down Matthew Golden and then diving into some edge prospects as well. But we'll see you over on hour two. We appreciate y'all.
For those of you listening on the pod,
Emilio coming into the clutch. You ain't no Tim, but that was pretty solid. Man.
No, and I remembered to pause it. It was still on loop, so I saved it. We're good. We're
Yeah,
good.
we're growing. We're growing every day. All right. Continuing here, welcome to hour two. Continuing with the Matthew Golden scouting report. Let's look at the strengths here. Average size measurables, but doesn't play small. That's huge. Graceful athlete with outstanding control and release and route breaks. Uses different techniques to make corners feel his presence, opening comebacks and curls. Favorite route is a 14-yard curl. Ooh, you know what I just immediately thought of? So I'm trying to think of the set. It's a balance ace set. Okay, so we're going ace 12 or 12
Okay.
ace, I should say. So you're going 12 ace nasty, which
Ooh.
is nasty splits.
Mm-hmm.
You're a balanced set with a tight end on each side, and they love to run the play action pass. And Christian Watson's great at this. They've got what they got, these two choice routes, what we're talking about with Matt LaFleur's offense. Here's another example of those choice routes. It's a go curl is essentially what it is, and you're reading the safety. If the safety flips his hips to run, you chop that thing down and turn it into a 14-yard curl, right? If the safety you catch flat-footed, run right by his ass.
Yep.
That right there is what they're talking about, being able to, make his presence known in the route running to where the safeties would flip their hips and you chop that thing down on a 14-yard curl. That's just, to me, Emilio, that seems like the result of putting the fear of speed into defenses and being able to chop that thing down.
It's all about selling that. I mean, you could be selling the curl the whole time, do a little mini chop, and you're off to the races. You know what I mean? Head fake. If you get people to bite on that, it's what you can make your hay with. But you got to be able to sell it. If not, no one's believing you. I mean, you could have 4 or 5 speed and still sell a streak. You know,
Yep. That's fact. All right, stem burst creates separation on posts and
I
corner.
like that. I like that.
What we're talking about with the stem, and you tell me if you understand it differently here, Emilio. Like, let's say you're running a post route, which, and let's say you're in the 2 on the right. You're gonna run like a go to 10 to 12 yards, and then you're gonna turn it into a post, right? The stem is that break point, right? That pivot point, right? When you get to the top of the stem, now you're making your cut,
Mhm.
right? Stem burst creates separation on posts and corners. That's huge. And again, we just got through talking about choice routes in Matt LaFleur's offense, specifically the wolf concept, where it's a 1 with an out, a 2 with a corner. It's saying he excels at that. So
Yeah, and coming out of your stem, I mean, how are you arriving to that stem? Are you chopping down? Are you over your skis? Are you under your skis? Are you way outside your shoulder width? I feel like there's a 1,000 ways you can look at it. Do you need a push off? If you sell the dude, can you kind of bend it? Can you kind of arc it just a little bit towards the outside? But you're running a corner. You know what I mean? You're not running the post. You're bending it a little bit to the outside, bring it back in, and I'm out. There's just such subtlety that if you have a guy that can handle that, coming right out of college, pro ready, 10 years ready to go, I like that. I do like that. Golden could do that. I think that Ibuka can too.
above average focus at catch point with fast, steady hands, superb body control to turn and frame the football midair. tracks ball well downfield, often had to slow and adjust his track with Quinn Ewers' deep ball. Look at the shot at Quinn Ewers there.
Oh, across the bow.
Hey, if he didn't, basically, let me paraphrase what Dane Brugler just said. If Quinn Ewers' noodle arm wasn't out there on the field, he wouldn't have had to slow down and catch the ball. Probably would have had a couple more tutters.
If he had Joe Milton throwing him the ball, he'd be in good shape.
Yeah, he let that thing go from the 5-yard line in the south end zone at Neyland. It landed out there on Broadway, right?
Cannon
for an arm, man. Cannon for an arm. I still don't think he's going to be a great quarterback. What? Somebody just traded for him too, didn't they? Pretty sure.
Yeah.
Patriots just traded him for a pick. So, Anyway, much stronger than expected, especially when finishing catches through contact. Impressive awareness post-catch. Immediately changing run angles to make first man miss. Averaged at least 20 yards per catch in 10 of 16 games in 2024. That's wild. Returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns. Here we are again. Another returner. In 2023, his career 25.8 yards per kick return, 28 attempts for 722 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very self-confident and embraces competition. Emerged as a top option in Texas's talent-rich wide receiver room in 2024. Coaches trusted him to play every wide receiver position in the playbook.
What I really did like about Golden, and what DJ, I think it was DJ or Ross Tucker, somebody, who did Texas go to in a pinch? I mean, that was Golden. Golden was their go-to guy. Golden was the one they wanted to go to on third down. He was the one that I threw to. You'd throw to on fourth down if you were in trouble. That's one thing I did like. And again, any guy that wants to play special teams willingly, not being forced out there, hey, I want, winners want the ball when the game's on the line. Best replacement quote you could probably have. That's the truth. You know what I mean? If you want the ball in your hands, let's go. That's what I want to see.
Yeah. I see the Kyle Williams talk in the chat. We'll hit on that here in a second for sure before we wrap up. Here are the weaknesses, and I love that this is a short list of weaknesses here. Holy cow. Not a dynamic make-you-miss athlete in space, doesn't always play up to his time speed. Can get stuck at tops of routes when facing physical defensive backs. So if somebody's in his hip pocket, bumping and running might be a little bit of an issue. Inconsistent blocker and can get blasted off his spot. NFL scout, quote, I won't kill him for it, but I need to see more grit out of him when he isn't the target. Now, we just got through talking about Egbuka literally on inside run plays going in and digging out the mock backer. So strength Egbuka, weakness Matthew Golden. Strength for Golden, more speed, right? More physical ability in that regard over Egbuka. Didn't play on special teams coverages aside from kickoff returns. Missed 2 games as a freshman after suffering rib injury, October 2022. Missed the final 3 games of his sophomore season, November 2023, because of turf toe injury that required surgery. So it sounds like he's got a few more injuries than Egbuka. So after hearing all this, Emilio, I feel way better about Egbuka than I do Matthew Golden, but I'm a little bit higher on Golden now, hearing how he operates at the top of the stem, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I like that football play, but I'm definitely still more on Egbuka. And again, national championship, would you want to dive into that? Goody always is looking at that kind of a player.
Mm-hmm. All right, so there you go. Again, that's 2 receivers to look for. That's Matthew Golden. He's in the 37 spot. Packers had a top 30 visit with him. And, of course, Emeka Egbuka in the 20 spot on our board. We also had a top 30 visit with him. So 2 that could potentially be the pick at 23. They may be looking at Matthew Golden potentially falling to 54. I just do not see that happening. That's what makes me think they've got to seriously be considering him at 23. Because I think he'll be
Akron, or is that your boy Appy State? I mean, it looks like Akron, isn't it? Poor guy getting just the fist to the mouth.
I think that's Akron. I believe that's Akron.
Poor
I could
guy.
be wrong. It doesn't look like Appy State, but I may be wrong.
I was going to say the colors weren't right, but poor guy. That's
get posterized, man, for sure. It's this hand that gets me right here. It's just kind of
it's like limp,
looking for something, right? It's just
give me help, please.
Yeah, exactly. So there you go. There's a little wide receiver talk. Continuing that wide receiver talk, Greg Rice says NFL MDD. Not sure what that is. Got it. Has Kyle Williams wide receiver at 95. There's some people, man, the Kyle Williams hype is picking up, and some people love him. And you guys know I've been very vocal about where he's at on our big board. Let me pull it up real quick and kind of talk about why we've got him there. And this is why we build the board early, is because there's going to be plenty of hype for Kyle Williams. That's obvious. There's going to be some people that think he's a first-round pick, and that's cool. Hey, all right. I want to know how people felt about him at the end of the year. What the hell happened? Why all of a sudden it's, whoa, this dude is the real deal, right? So with Kyle Williams, and he may end up being a great receiver. Who knows? We've got him in the 10, let's see, what is that? The 194 spot. Yeah.
Just 100 spots off, Greg. Just 100 off.
We got him at 194. Here's why he's there. In 2022, PFF said there were 252 other receivers that were better than him. All right. In 2023, PFF said there were 388 receivers better than him. Now, in 2024, he takes a huge jump, and they said he was the 64th best wide receiver. Okay. The PFF big board at the end of the college football season had him at 152. The consensus big board had him at 147. All right. So that sounds like that's nowhere near being a first-round pick, right? Now, one of the outliers, Senior Bowl, he dominated. Daniel Jeremiah said this dude turned heads at the Senior Bowl. Guys, that's huge. You cannot negate that at all. Like, think of the people in the past who have had great Senior Bowls. Here most recently, last year, the cornerback, help me out, Emilio, went to the Eagles.
Toledo. Yes.
Yeah. Toledo, that's how we all remember. Quinyon Mitchell balled out. And everybody, it's still a small school. Went to the NFL, played damn good football, right? Mm-hmm. So you got it.
Was Puka? Did he ball out in the Senior Bowl? Did he go to that?
I think he may have. It was one of the All-Star games. I think it might have been the Senior Bowl. Yeah.
I feel like that could be like Jack Bech this year. You know what I mean? Like someone that tore it up in the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, and like with Puka, you say, okay, let's compare him to Kyle Williams, right? Like, okay, is their rapid ascent similar?
Okay.
It's not because Puka was graded extremely high by PFF. Like, right. That was the reason I was standing on the mountain for him. Like, bro, why are people overlooking this kid? And then you see him run the gauntlet at the combine, and I think he had the fastest speed at the gauntlet, like meaning miles per hour, running and catching the ball and changing, eye locking while you're catching it. And it's like, why is nobody on him? And lo and behold, he gets drafted. As he falls in the draft, I'm going, I guess they were right, man. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. Then he gets to the league and he dominates. So that's right, we were right. So with Kyle Williams, it seems different because the PFF isn't really matching up, and it's not everything. But here's the other thing. As I was beating myself up going, man, why don't I have him in the top 100? Should we move him up? Should we change that? Because now
you're asking me, right? Because he had because his new grades are all so much higher.
Consensus big board and stuff has him significantly higher and all that, right? Well, the 33rd team released their recent top 200, right? He was 159 on their list. And again, that's not everything, but it's just there's nothing in terms of information across all this stuff that we've collected. And his RAS, I need to double check it. If somebody wants to check that for me real quick, I'd greatly appreciate it in the chat. See what Kyle Williams' RAS is, because we had him in as a 0 in here. So he was less than a 7 RAS when we took him in. So I don't know. I want to believe. I don't have anything against him, right? But then you go, okay, what kind of, who did he play against? He played at Washington State. It's not like he was playing a bunch of powerhouses. I can't imagine. I don't know what conference that is, but you don't think of that being like this powerful program, right? So it's hard for me. Now, he does meet the athletic threshold for the Packers with the data that we have in that regard. But, yeah, I'm trying to see if anybody's got the RAS. It takes the RAS a while to load. I'll get it loading here on my screen so we can at least try to take a look at it, because I'm curious to see if that's accurate. And that's our next step, Emilio, and it's going to be grinding. We've got to make sure we get all the RAS information in and covered. It's best to wait the week of the draft because it's constantly – I want to say somebody's – I think it was actually today, April 10th. Was it Will Johnson was supposed to do something today, I believe?
For his pro day. I think they said that. Who was that? I want to say it was Move the Six, but they were talking. Yeah, it'd be one of those where you kind of play it out because he had that injury. Hey, we're not going to do the combine, but hey, here's our pro day. Hey, little tight on the 10th. I don't know if I can run today. I'll see everybody at the draft. You know what I mean? And just kind of drag this thing out. I definitely think that's a possibility. But little games that they play, man, that's the truth.
Yeah, there it is. Okay, so Greg Rice says MathBomb says 7.67. So we need to give him a 1-point bonus. I've got it loaded up now. I'm going to double check it right now. And that's what we're looking for if you got it off the site there. Kyle Williams is wide receiver. We're showing actually the updated one. I'm looking at the site right now, and I appreciate you looking that up, Greg. Thank you for checking that. We've got it right here. And it's actually a 6.35. So now he was not disqualified from the threshold, but he was lacking the agility testing. And his 40-yard dash was a 4.40. Arm length only 30.13. Hand size 8 3/4. So I'm just looking at Amelia. I just don't see it.
Everything. Yeah. You're taking it all in consideration. Say, is this a guy I want to take a chance on?
And it's where it gets dangerous because I'm trying to sell myself on it. I'm trying to convince myself he's that dude, and I just have nothing that lines up. So, all right, so we'll stick with the 0 there. But thank you for looking that up, Greg. If you've seen it on Twitter, it might have been the early RAS, and then
even look up 5-6 spots there. I'd rather take our boy Efton out of Eastern Washington with that pick. Some dude that started in 22 at 176. 23, he was 36, and 24, he was the best receiver in college football. Okay, getting no respect going at the 242 PFF and 267 consensus big boards. All right, yeah, that would be the kind of guy at that sort of depth that I would take the poll on,
Yeah, Siggy coming in here late, man. He said, I'm not on Lombardi time. No, you aren't, sir, but hey, this show sucks, so it don't matter.